She would have wanted me to have the house. That is what my brother said before the estate attorney had finished his opening remarks. Not a question, not a suggestion. A statement, delivered in the same tone he used for everything certain, already halfway to being agreed upon. He was sitting across the conference table from me in a blazer he had bought for the occasion. I was wearing the sweater I wore every time I drove my mother to her neurologist appointments. I had a binder on the table in front of me. I did not open it yet.
She would have wanted me to have the house.
My name is Claire. I am 39 years old. When my mother was diagnosed with early onset dementia, I was living in Seattle, working as a registered nurse, renting an apartment, 2 years into a position I had spent a decade training for. I left all of it to move back into the house I grew up in, so that my mother could stay in a place she recognized, with a face she trusted, for as long as that mattered. I told myself the arrangement was temporary. I told myself that for about 8 months before I stopped pretending and started treating it as what it actually was, the rest of her life, and a significant portion of mine. My brother Derek is 42. He lives in Chicago with his wife and their 2 children. He is charming in the way that people who have never had to argue for anything tend to be charming, easy, smooth, quick with a compliment. He visited 6 times in 4 years. When he came, he brought gifts, stayed for a long weekend, and told everyone, our aunts, our mother's friends, anyone who asked, that he was keeping everything running from his end. What he meant by this was that his name was on our mother's bank account. He had arranged this 3 months after I moved in, on the grounds that he was good with money. I was not on the account. By the time I understood what that meant, I was already in year 2. What managing the account looked like in practice was this. When I needed money for supplies, incontinence pads, a hospital-grade bed rail, the ramp we installed over the front steps, I asked Derek or paid for it myself and sent him the receipt. He responded at his own pace. Sometimes that was a day. Sometimes it was 11 days. By the end of year 3, I had paid $47,000 out of my own savings. I had receipts for all of it. Organized by month in a folder I kept on the kitchen counter. I did not think of it as evidence at the time. I thought of it as how I stayed sane. Derek's version of events began to drift from mine in small ways. He told our Aunt Patricia he had arranged my mother's medication schedule, something I had set up with her neurologist 8 months before he was involved. He told a family friend he visited every few weeks. None of it was worth a fight. I was too tired for the fight, so I wrote it down instead. Date, what was said, who was present. In the 3rd year, I asked Derek to release funds for a hospital bed. My mother had become too difficult to move safely without proper equipment. He paused on the phone and then said,
Claire, she's comfortable where she is. You're doing an incredible job. I just don't want us spending money we don't need to spend on something she might not even notice.
She had already noticed. She had told me so the week before. I bought the bed with my own money. I sent Derek the receipt. He replied with a thumbs up. I kept the email. 3 weeks later, my aunt forwarded me something Derek had written in the family group chat, a thread I had not been added to. He described me as living at Mom's and said the arrangement had been my idea from the start, as if I had traded a nursing career for a free address. I read it twice. I did not reply. I started a different kind of folder. I found an elder law attorney through a referral from a former colleague. I went to the consultation alone with a notebook and asked her to explain exactly what the law recognized in our state for someone in my position. She told me about caregiver equity claims, the legal framework for compensating a family member who provides full-time skilled care. She gave me a list of what to document. I already had most of it. What I did not yet have was the bank statements. She told me I was entitled to request them directly from the bank. Derek had never told me I couldn't. He had simply never mentioned that I could. I submitted the request the following morning. Over the following 4 months, I built the record. I had kept receipts for everything I had paid out of pocket. I added the care log I had maintained since the 1st year, daily entries recording my mother's condition, what care I provided, and how many hours I worked. My attorney prepared a calculation. At the standard market rate for in-home memory care in our state, conservatively 16 hours of skilled care per day over 4 years. The value of what I had provided came to approximately $316,000. That number was not what I planned to lead with. It was what I had ready, if I needed it. Derek had selected an estate attorney from the suburb where he lived and had emailed me the meeting details 3 days before it was scheduled. He had not asked whether the location or timing worked for me. He had simply sent the address. I confirmed. I drove 11 hours to get there. My attorney, who I had not mentioned to Derek, traveled separately and met me in the parking lot. We walked in together. Derek spoke first. He explained in a measured and prepared-sounding voice that our mother had expressed to him on multiple occasions that she wanted the house to stay with him, given his role managing her finances throughout her illness. He said that Claire had been living there during that period and had therefore already benefited from the property. He said it the way he said most things, completely without a visible scene. When he finished, my attorney introduced herself. Derek's attorney looked at Derek. Derek looked at her. Then he looked at me. My attorney placed a document on the table. A calculation, she said, based on the care log, my nursing credentials, and the standard market rate for in-home memory care in our state. She walked through the methodology. She explained that over 4 years, a conservative estimate of 16 hours of skilled care per day, the value of the care I had provided came to approximately $316,000. Our Aunt Patricia, who had said nothing for the preceding 20 minutes, wrote something in the margin of her notepad. Derek looked at the number. Then he said,
She offered to move in. That was her own choice. Nobody asked her to give up her job.
My attorney said the law does not generally distinguish between a choice and a sacrifice when calculating caregiver equity. She asked Derek's attorney whether he agreed with her reading of the relevant statute. He said he would need to review it. She turned to the second section of the summary, the bank statements. She had flagged 3-line items, transfers from my mother's account to an account in Derek's name. $4,200, $3,800, $4,100 over 14 months. The memo field on each one read, household management. She asked Derek to explain them.
Those were for household expenses, utilities, repairs, things that needed handling. I kept records of everything.
My attorney asked him to provide those records by the end of the week. She noted that the total transferred $12,100 exceeded by a considerable margin the documented household expenses visible in the same statements. The items she had flagged, she said, appeared to correspond to Derek's own household, not my mother's. Aunt Patricia, who had visited us at least a dozen times over 4 years and had seen the state of the house and the state of me, set down her pen. She did not pick it up again for the rest of the meeting. The estate was settled 11 weeks later. I received the house, which I have since sold. Derek received his share of the remaining liquid assets. The $12,100 was repaid to the estate before distribution. He did not contest any of it. Derek's attorney withdrew from the matter 2 weeks in, and Derek did not find a replacement before my attorney's deadline. Our aunts, who had spent years believing Derek was the one holding everything together, because that was the story he had told, and I had never corrected it, saw the bank statements. They saw the care log. They saw 4 years of daily entries written by someone who had not been keeping records to use against her brother, but because her mother had deserved that level of attention.
I had no idea. I really had no idea what you were carrying.
Derek and I have not spoken since the settlement. I don't know if that is permanent. There's a grief that comes with winning something like this, not because you regret the outcome, but because you finally understand with complete clarity how little you were valued. For 4 years, I had given up a career, a savings account, a life I had been building, and an enormous amount of myself. My brother had watched all of that happen and concluded that the fair summary of my contribution was, she was living there anyway. I don't think he set out to take advantage of me. I think he simply never thought about it, which might be worse. I still have the care log. I don't open it anymore, but I know what's in it. 4 years of daily entries. My mother's good days and her difficult ones. The afternoon she forgot my name for the first time, and then remembered it again 20 minutes later and laughed about it like it was a funny story. The entries I wrote not because I imagined they would one day be read by an attorney, but because she deserved to have someone paying that close attention. The binder got me through the estate meeting, but I had starred the log for a different reason entirely. That is the part I want to hold on to.